Hey, what's going on guys? The Langbanger here. I have a new profile for you and it's an updated Numeron deck. So what's cool about this build, it's not going to be the most comparative, so I'm going to say that right up front, but this is quite nostalgic because in the show there was, I guess, a character that used Numerons, but then Numerons, you could even take it a step further and go into Numeronius Exceed monsters. So that's really cool. It is really hard to actually go into them. So this build is pretty focused on going into that, but I think the nice benefit is if you don't have the full out combo or setup to go into the Numeronius, you can still do your regular Numeron plays. So basically, to go into those exceeds, I would say it's win more. If you do get to go into it, like I would say you're not for sure going to win, but you'll just understand why that, you probably will win. And once you go into the one Numeronius, you need your opponent to do something so you can go into the next one. And then the next one is pretty much the win button. But we'll just go into detail here as we go. So I don't want to say my style or way to go into the Numeronius is unique, but I will show you some cards that I haven't seen other people really use and some cards that people have been using. So you'll just see here. So of course you have the 3 Numeron wall. You have the 3 planet Pathfinder. And by the way, there's a new card that just came out in Brothers of Legend, and it can actually search its Numeron wall. So for what that's worth, so you already have 3 copies here, 3 Pathfinder. You have quite a number of other cards, so you can search the network. So really, if you needed, I'm sure you could really raise your consistency. It's already pretty high as is. You should be able to see a network turn 1, but it's called Pure Raise Map, I believe. Pure Raise Map. So you got to pay half your life, but it does search out a monster with 0 attack. So just FYI on that. So here's a different card that I'm using, Swift Scarecrow. So essentially what happens is you need to exceed summon into the Numeron C1 gate, Sunjay, I believe is the name. But then from there, right, you're gonna pop the board, but then you need to survive the next turn. So that's kind of my thought process. I want to ensure that I am gonna live. So that's why that's there. So, all right, so here's the engine people are using. So I'm using 2 Unchained Twins Aruba and 2 Unchained Twins Reke. So the point of this is basically you want to get to the number C1 Exceed monster, pop the board, then the next turn it comes back, and then you need to have the Unchained Twin in your hand, pop the C1, summon that, and then play the Chaos Ritual from your hand. So that's what I was saying. This is definitely a win more combo or deck, but it's just really cool because these Exceed monsters do something that pretty much nothing else in the game has ever seen or given you, I should say. So those are all the monsters. On to the spells. You have the 3 network. You have the 2 calling. I'm going with 2 calling. I guess you could use 3, but really if you think about it, that 3rd is never going to go off because you simply can't fit, more Numeron monsters in the extra deck. It's literally impossible because you need to have other cards in there just in case your full out strategy doesn't work. So here's the new card, Numeron Chaos Ritual. So let me see if I can... So if a face-up number C1 Numeron Chaos Gate Sunye, not Sunjay, Sunye, sorry, you can control was destroyed by a monster effect this turn, you can target 1 of your Numeron network and 4 of your number Exceed monsters that are banished or in your graveyard. Special summon 1 number C1000 Numeronius from the extra deck. that becomes 10,000 attack, 10,000 defense. And if you do, attach all 5 targets to it as a material, and then you can only normal or special summon once for the rest of this turn. So there was that. I mean, first of all, you can see that's a hell of a requirement. And also, when I was mentioning the requirements, you also need to have a Numeron network in the graveyard or banished if your opponent were to happen to do that. So I guess you need to have gone through Numeron network once, and then you could just play another one on top of it, and then that's the way you can get that. And then what's cool is, when you go Numeron network, dump the calling, you can summon a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, right? And then you have one more summon. You can then exceed number C1, Numeron Chaos Gate Senye, with the 1, banishes everything, right? So the C1, the 2, the 3, the 4 will be banished, right? So, and then the material falls off of the C1 and goes to the grave, I assume. So then from there, you got a clear board. Hence why I was saying you got to use cards so that you can live. And just the way that the Numeron works, you can't just keep summoning, whenever you do some big play. So that's why you have to use something to, stay alive. So, and then, yeah, like I said, so then from there, 10,000 attack. So if I'm not mistaken, I don't think any other card is in the game that has 10,000 attack, or a card that gives something like some obscene amount of attack. So that is a crazy amount of setup. But like I said, this is more for nostalgia or just fun. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so now I'm using 3 Abominations Prison. So that'll search an Unchained card from my deck to my hand. I don't know what sort of ratios I should be using. I'm using 2 of the blue, 2 of the red, and then 3 of the spell. People were also using, I think there was a level 9. I don't really know. That might be overdoing it though. Then you have 3 Memories of Hope. You have the 2 Desires. I guess this is kind of different. Field Barrier. Because this deck is literally field spell the deck, I just want to ensure it's not going to leave the field. So I just tried to, aid in that. So then you have 1 Mystic Mine. I guess you could use more copies. I've just always felt like, yeah, mine's one of those things to where it slows down the game, but then also maybe at some point it could maybe hurt you as well. It's just kind of cool that it will nullify everything, and then I guess if you want, you might be able to go into one of your big plays and attack, and then kind of ensure that nothing else is going to activate. You just got to make sure, how many monsters you have, your opponent has, and all that. I don't know if you need more than one. That's totally up to you. Then I'm using the Terraforming, Called by the Grave, and 1 Day of Peace. So I think the only different things, people are using that Unchained package, so that's not new. I guess the only different card is 1 Day of Peace and the Field Barriers. 1 Day of Peace, I just want to ensure I live, right? And if I'm going to do that full out play in the number C1, right, I'm pretty much not going to be doing any damage anyways, but it all depends too, right? Because if you do have the 1, 2, 3, 4, you might be able to just win right there. And then if you somehow can't, then that's where you take it a little step further. So this is definitely win more. And then onto the traps. This is definitely different. Very old school. Not saying it's the most optimal. So 3 Threatening Roar and then 3 Wabiku. I always say it, but this is like the oldest card in the game, and it's never gotten a reprint as a foil, and it just hurts. We do have a Mosaic in Battle Pack 2 War of the Giants. I didn't pick those up. I've always had these foreign ones. I swear, these are at least 15 years old. I've had these almost since day one. So, like I said, you guys should be able to understand the strategy here. So not much to it, not a whole lot of thought. Now this maybe, I could use a little bit of help or tweaking. So you are using the 2 number 1, 2 number 2, 2 number 3, 2 number 4. And then I'm using 2 number C1, Numeron Chaos Gate Senye. I don't know if I would ever go in the 2 R2 needed. I think it's cool because, for the most part, normally people only use one of this if they use it at all. But I think because I have so many cards to nullify damage, I think this is actually, neat to go into. So, all right. So here's one of the big daddies. So number C1000 Numeronius. So I'll just read this off, I guess. Once per turn, you can detach one material from this card, destroy one other monster on the field. At the end of the battle phase, destroy as many monsters on the field as possible. Then you can special summon one monster from your opponent's grave to your field in defense. Now, that's cool in itself, right? So whenever you play the spell, then this is going to have 10,000 attack and defense. So at that point, you would think they're dead. So I'm not really trying to go into the next level. And yes, there is another next level. You're going to see that here shortly. But yeah, that should just be game. And then the other effect, let me see here. This card you control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect. While it has materials and sent to the grave, you can special summon one number IC1000 Numeronia from your extra deck. And if you do, attach this card to it as a material. So already at this point, like, you should be winning. And basically at that point, if you think about it, like with this having 10,000 attack, your opponent can't attack over it. That's basically for sure. I'm like 99% sure that they don't have a way to do that unless there was some attack modifier that said you can make your monsters attack the same as the target it's attacking, which I don't know if there's anything really out there. Well, I guess, honest or dark honest, I guess stuff like that would do the trick too. But, no one uses those. But then if somehow, some way, then you got to destroy it probably to get over it. And then with that, then that's where the true fun begins. So I am using this C1000, but now here's the big one. Number IC1000 Numeronia. So from there, if this card is special summoned by the effective number C1000 Numeronius, it gains 100,000 attack and defense during your opponent's turn only. Also apply this effect during the start of the next turn after this card was special summoned. Monsters your opponent controls must attack if able. At the end of your opponent's turn, if this card did not battle, you win the duel. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can detach one material from this card, negate the attack, and if you do, gain life points equal to the monster's attack. Absolutely nuts. I mean, obviously, like, the odds of you going into that is, bare minimum. Like, I wouldn't even say 5% chance. But, if just somehow, some way that happens, like, you gotta be feeling good. So just really fun stuff. And then I have two links. I have a Megaclops and Skuldred. If you want, you could cut this for Appaloosa. I don't know. I just kind of felt like I needed a link 3 if somehow, some way that were to come up. I didn't want just 2 link 4s. I don't know what the right play is, but Saruja, I included that because you just want to draw. I didn't want to use 3 of the Chaos Ritual, even though that would be nice to do. I wasn't, trying to max out on it. So, yeah, guys, that was my profile, 13 minutes of rambling on. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Sort of a different way to go about this deck. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Like I said, it's not the most competitive, but definitely a lot of fun. So, all right, guys, peace.